Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabella Barbarino, and tonight we will be talking about Europe's victory in the Ryder Cup and America's almost comeback, Seton Hall's women's soccer, and the MLB recap. Stay with us for Anchor Point, and finally wrapping up an exclusive interview with the Executive Director of Sports Media, Bruce Schechter. The 2025 Ryder Cup came to a close after a tough fight from both sides. This golf match happens bi-yearly and featured two teams comprised of top 12 players in Europe as well as the United States. Despite working hard towards a comeback, the U.S. fell short at Bethpage with a final result of 15-13. Europe maintained control from the get-go with a commanding lead of 11.5 to 4.5 by Saturday evening. Cameron Young answered back with the first full point of America on Sunday, chipping away at Europe's lead. The American team rallied to close the gap in the score, but during the final four matches, it was not enough to secure the win. The women's soccer team walked away from a hard fight against St. John's in a draw. The Pirates hosted the game, ending with a score of 0-0 after a tough battle back and forth. Despite both teams pressing offensively, neither can gain the traction to score. Freshman Katie Kleinsman showed great promise in the goal by protecting the team from 14 shots that came her way. This game was only Kleinsman's fifth career start, but proved to her be a vital part of their defense. The Pirates are now focusing their attention on their upcoming match against Providence. Good luck to the team as they aim to bring home a win.
Welcome to Pirates Perspective. My name is Tyler Seabreeze.
My name is Paul Brignola.
And I'm Adrian Peck. Today we're going around Seton Hall asking Pirates about their favorite sports teams, what they would do if they had no sports to watch, and their favorite sports memes.
Who am I here with today?
Shane.
What's your favorite sports team and why?
Manchester City. I'm a big fan of Yaya Toure back in the day. He's retired now, but I stuck with the team.
Do you have a favorite sports meme?
Sports meme. It would probably be the sniper memes in soccer when they just fall on the ground. They're pretty good.
And if there were no sports to watch, what would you do?
I'd play the sports myself.
That's a good answer. Thank you.
All right. What's your name?
Jonathan Cosa,
Jonathan. Do you have a favorite sports team?
Chelsea FC.
Interesting. Why?
My whole family is Chelsea fans. Parents are British, so kind of didn't really choose.
Oh, okay. What would you do if there weren't any sports on?
Probably play the sport. That's actually the only other thing, I guess, that supplements it.
Fair point. Do you have a favorite sports meme?
Probably the Cuckoo Cucurella thing when they woke up.
The MLB regular season has officially ended. It brought historic moments such as Cal Rayhe's record-breaking home runs, becoming the only seventh player to reach 60 in a single season. The Mets fumbled their last opportunity to compete in the playoffs. On the final day of the regular season, the Miami Marlins were able to secure the win against New York. But it was only when the Milwaukee Brewers lost to the Cincinnati Reds that the Mets completely knocked out of the running for their playoffs. Mets manager Carlos Mendoza shared his disappointment in the outcome, saying, quote, "I just got done addressing the team, and there's no words to describe what we're going through. It's pain, it's frustration, you name it," end quote. The Wild Card Series is set to begin with the best three matchups hosted by the higher seeds. This action-packed season is set to have set the stage for a very exciting postseason. Stay tuned with us after the break as we transition to Anchor Point, the official debate show of the Hall Zone. I'm Isabella Barbarino, and this is your sports news update.
Who am I here with today?
Pojo.
All right. What is your favorite sports team and why?
Probably the Devils, because, it's the only Jersey team we got left, so you got to rep the Devils,
What would you do if there were no sports to watch?
Honestly, no sports to watch. I'd probably get off my couch and play them, honestly.
All right. Do you happen to have a favorite sports meme?
LeBron, you are my sunshine.
Who am I here with today?
Daniel Gilhooly.
What's your favorite sport and why?
Favorite sport?
Like team.
Oh, sports team. Honestly, I haven't watched a whole lot of sports. I kind of stopped around the time I turned like 10 years old or something like that. So, honestly, comes down to really superficial stuff. But I like the Miami Dolphins because their colors are cool, and I like the Dolphin.
What would you do if you had no sports to watch?
Well, I mean, that's more of a problem if I'm back home with my parents because they watch a lot of sports. But if I'm here and there's no sports to watch, it doesn't really affect me that much. I'd probably just keep doing the things that I do normally.
And do you have a favorite sports meme?
Not a meme in particular, but if you guys have ever seen those compilations of the NFL announcers saying like completely out of pocket stuff during matches, I think those are hilarious.
Hello, and welcome to Anchor Point, the official debate show of the Hall Zone. My name's Kendall Waters, and I'll be your moderator for today. Today we're joined by Sam Stinson and Cameron Price. Let's dive into our first topic. So, my first question. Should college athletes be paid, and does being paid help or harm the game? I'll start with you, Sam.
I believe college athletes should not be paid. When you pay student athletes to play a certain sport, it takes away the difference between college athletes and professional athletes. College athletes are supposed to compete due to the love of the game and the exposure to the professional leagues. When you put money into the equation, it becomes the main driving factor of playing. That competitive drive goes away and the team becomes a profit-chasing organization. AJ Dibansa, one of the top recruits in the 2025 class, who committed to BYU, has an NIL valuation of $4.1 million, which is more than some NBA rookies are making nowadays. This financial this financial gain on top of scholarships and other perks from the schools can put a financial strain on the university itself. Some schools have to raise a lot of money to even be competitive in this day and age of college basketball. When you get smaller schools, just can't compete with bigger programs these days. The money is just not there for them. It's a big gap in the competition between them. And one other thing, the culture around the teams has also changed with NIL. More than 40% of all men's basketball players have entered the transfer portal at the start of the 2024 to 2025 season. One of the main factors in this is the NIL, because these students want to get paid by the bigger schools, especially if were at a smaller school and competed very well. College basketball is so electric because of the teams with a certain culture and play style, and they can't do that anymore with the transfer portal and the NIL.
Cameron?
You made a good point. But I think that it doesn't hurt the game at all. I feel like college athletes should get paid because after college, you have no idea what's going to happen. Like, you could not even touch the field, and football, basketball, baseball, it can, like, not be for you. So they need all the money they can get so they can find, like, either a plan B. You are a up-and-coming, like, 5-star recruit. You get an injury, something bad happens, and like you can't play sport again. You need like a plan B to like help like find your footing again. And I feel like NIL, like all like that money, it can help you find like a different career path if sports are not for you. I also think that it doesn't hurt the game that much because I feel like all that money also strives the players to get into the league, make even more money. And then that's what creates stars because they want that money. Even though, the competitive will be gone, I feel like some of the money for the competitiveness is still there.
See, I would have to disagree with you there because if the competitive is away, then the game of basketball is just not the game of basketball. Like, the reason that we watch college basketball day in and day out is the competitiveness and smaller schools beating bigger schools. That's what we want to see. Yeah. That just can't happen anymore with NIL. Smaller schools just don't have not even half the money as the bigger schools have.
But I also feel like that even with smaller schools, I feel like they can have like if they develop well, they can have like underrated stars that can beat the team. Like in a transfer portal, like all that happens, all that stuff. If an athlete is from a low income family, they also need that money to help out their family. Like I would say like they would like know what to they would know what to do with that money if they would like help out with their family and all of that, and it will also like benefit greatly and even they could use that money for charity. Like it doesn't all have to be about themselves. They could also branch out. They can also start businesses with these. They can do whatever they can with the money. Like I said earlier, like they can if they need a plan B, they know how to start a business. They know what to do here, and I think the NIL and like getting all those brand deals, it can help out greatly with their business side and what their agents wanted them to do.
I think that's very interesting points from both sides. So let's move on to the second question. Should umpires be replaced with robot umpires, specifically talking about the MLB in this case? Sam, do you want to start?
Yes, I absolutely think there should not be any robot umpires. The main reason I think this is it would completely wipe out part of the catching and the pitching position in baseball. Two probably two of the most important positions in baseball, in my opinion. One of the main jobs for the catcher is to frame a pitch, which is catching a borderline ball and positioning it as a strike to the human umpire. It's a huge part of their position, and that's honestly why they get paid the big bucks. It basically builds their career. If there was a robot umpire, that completely wipes that aspect of the game completely out. Like, there's no reason to frame pitches anymore if there's a robot umpire calling balls and strikes.
Yeah.
For pitching, a lot of pitchers like to control the game by painting the outside of the corners, widening the strike zone a little bit so the umpire can give them favorable calls. That ultimately, doing that ultimately gets in the batter's head. That's out of the game if there's no robot. If there's a robot umpire, there's no more of the deception factor for pitchers. A huge part of baseball is the human factor, and we need to keep robots out of baseball so we can keep that human factor and keep the tradition of baseball. The main argument that people give about putting robots into the MLB is that they can change a game with a bad call. 88.2% of calls were correct by umpires this season, which seems low, but it is the highest it has been since they tracked the stat in 2015. So implementing human umpires, yes, they can get the ball, they can get calls wrong sometimes, but that's just a part of the game. That's a part of the human factor of baseball.
You make a great point there, but I also think spring training, we saw the ABS system for the first time, and I believe it was like one of the best decisions they made because, yeah, framing is a big part of the game, but also like these catchers can frame a ball way out of the zone, and it'll still somehow be called a strike. And also, so the ABS system, just one tap of the helmet, one tap of the hat, both pitchers and batters can use it for their advantage, which I really like. So imagine like Paul Skeens, like he throws a strike painted on the corner, they call it a ball. Use the ABS, he taps on his helmet, hat. ABS system tells it's a strike. I believe robots, the ABS system and the robot umpire is great for both the pitcher and the batter because it still brings a fair system to baseball, and it doesn't really like mess with the game that much because it can just be a random strike that they want either a strikeout, or it could be a random ball that they want to walk. And also, I feel like if we did not have the system for like important games like Game 7 of the World Series and it ends on a bad strike call, I feel like players and fans would be livid.
You are right, and I do have to say, I feel like we should definitely keep the human umpires, and it seems like next year they're implementing the ABS system for only reviews, which I think is a huge part of the game.
Me too.
Definitely, I feel like we should keep the human aspect and keep human umps. If they make a bad call, they could challenge it. Just like football, just like basketball, they could challenge any call that they think is not going in their favor.
So we're going to wrap it up here. That's all the time we have for today. You guys made both interesting points. So for next, we have our Deckside Chats, our open discussion with the Executive Director of Sports Media, Bruce Schechter. Stay with us after the break.
My name is Charles Allen.
All right. What is your favorite sports team and why?
Atlanta Hawks, and that's because I'm from Atlanta.
Right. What would you do if you had no sports to watch?
I'm not gonna lie, that would be very depressing. I would probably watch cartoons.
Nice. We all love cartoons. What is your favorite sports meme?
LeBron James when everybody realized he was bald.
Welcome back, everyone, to Deckside Chats. I'm Tyler Seabreeze, and I'll be joined by Manny Pereira and the Executive Director of Center of Sports Media, BJ Schechter. Today, BJ, we have a question about who do you think will win the Heisman Trophy, as well as who do you think will win the College Football National Championship?
Well, we're thanks for having me, by the way, and we're here talking about college football, which is one of my great loves. I spent 20 years at Sports Illustrated, and I've covered college football my whole life, and we're up here at Seton Hall in the Northeast, and we really don't know what college football really is. Rutgers is not a football school, even though they're in the Big Ten. Penn State, we saw what happened, losing yet another big game. and great atmosphere and Happy Valley, but it's not the SEC. It's not Ohio State. It's not the Horseshoe. Ohio State, #1 team in the country. They're going to be right there at the end. Yes, they haven't beaten Michigan in the last 3 years. They're going to get it done this year. I think you'll see Ohio State back in the national championship game. And then the SEC is just an absolute war. We saw what happened last week with Alabama beating Georgia. Alabama, Georgia. LSU, even though LSU has a little bit of the Penn State having a hard time winning a big game under Brian Kelly bug. Heisman Trophy, it's really early, so here's a fun fact I'm sure you guys didn't know coming into this. I'm a Heisman voter. I've been a Heisman voter the last 20 plus years. And so when I see Arch Manning at the beginning of the year, Heisman frontrunner, Drew Aller, those are guys I know are not going to win it. Right now, the best player in the country is Jeremiah Smith, wide out for Ohio State. He's not going to see as many balls, but he's a breakthrough player. The Heisman race really doesn't heat up until the last 3 or 4 weeks. So there's a lot of football to be played. And having covered the Heisman and voted for the Heisman for 20 plus years, I know well enough then to handicap it right now. But looking at, who is the best player in the country, it's Jeremiah Smith. Now there's some debate over what does the Heisman Trophy go to? Is it the most valuable player? Is it the best player? It goes according to what the Heisman says, the most outstanding player. What does that mean? Open to great interpretations. So Jeremiah Smith would be my pick right now, but it's way too early.
So, like the term September Heisman, guys like Trinidad Chambliss, who actually started the year on the bench for Ole Miss, D2 transfer from Ferris State. What do you think guys like him and, Diego Pavia, who last year was considered in the race when Vanderbilt was finally good, and this year, they start 5-0, undefeated on the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's there are a lot of great players. With the transfer portal, more and more players get a chance to play at bigger programs. The problem in the SEC right now is, no disrespect to the Big Ten, the SEC is by far and away the toughest conference in the country. Those players are going to get beat up. Who's the last man standing? That person or people are going to be in the Heisman race at the end and will be invited to New York.
Well, right now the favorite is Moore at Oregon, and he just had an exceptional game. On the road, first year starting for school like Oregon, what do you think about what he's done thus far?
Terrific job, and Dan Lanning, I give all the credit in the world, especially after what they've lost, and they lost a lot last year to go into Penn State in a whiteout on Saturday night. Doesn't get any easier though, because Oregon is in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I still can't wrap my head around Oregon and Washington being in the Big Ten. Same with UCLA and USC. But it doesn't get any easier for Oregon because they get Indiana this week, and Indiana is also 5-0.
Yeah, they killed Illinois, and they had a good game against USC last week. So now let's go a little bit more on the personal side. You worked 20 years at Sports Illustrated. Now you're here at Seton Hall. How did you make that decision to essentially come here and play such a big role at the university?
Well, it's when I was coming up, when I was sitting in your shoes or standing in your shoes, it was SI and ESPN, and my dream job was SI really, and I was lucky enough to have offers from SI and ESPN, and I chose SI. And it was a hard decision, and SI was the pinnacle of storytelling, reporting. I got my dream job at 23 years old. Wow. So what do you do when you get your dream job at 23? And it's really, you keep working and you keep remaking yourself. And that really came into play later in my career. As you said, I stayed 20 years and I left in 2016. Media had changed dramatically. Magazines and print journalism were on decline. Digital media was on the ascent. So when I left SI in 2016, I wanted to be part of the solution, not part of the problem or somebody who was just hanging on. So I came to Seton Hall to build a Center for Sports Media. It took us like 5 or 6 years, but we've now laid a really good foundation. I came here to build the best program in the country, and that's what we're going to do. And there's no doubt in my mind, given our resources, given the type of students we can attract, given our location right outside New York City, the media capital of the world, that's what we can do. And at the same time, I'm still in it. I run Baseball America, editor-in-chief of a startup called You Think, and I think it's really important as we're together, and this is what we're doing here at Seton Hall, figuring it out together, to still be in it. Because yes, I might have 30 plus years experience in this industry, but it's changing. The future is going to be decided by you and students here at the university.
So you get to work alongside Bob Lee, where you do. What's that like?
Oh, Bob is the greatest. And the thing that most people don't know, but they come to learn when they talk to Bob, and he's great with our students, is as good of a journalist as Bob Lee is, and there's no better, sports or otherwise. He's an even better person.
Wow.
He never forgot where he came from. He grew up in Bloomfield, New Jersey, came to the Hall on an academic scholarship. It was the only way he could afford college. And he never forgot what Seton Hall did for him. And he's given back, not only with his time and his money. He gave us a very generous gift to get the center off the ground. But he comes here and he talks to our students. He meets with our students. He's very involved. I talk to Bob every single day, and I'm better for it.
That's awesome.
So, like, as the executive director and with the multitude of networks growing around not only like professional sports but also college sports that are just growing, is there like a certain network that you try and like guide your students towards, or is it all spread out?
It is spread out, and we're lucky enough in the last year with the Center for Sports Media, we have partnerships with all the networks. We just did a big partnership with ESPN, which is going to be so great for years to come for our students. We have a great partnership with NBC, and it's a huge year for NBC because not only do they have the Winter Olympics, they get the NBA back, and they have the NBA All-Star Game, and they have the Super Bowl. Huge transformational year for for NBC. But you as students, like, you're your own brand. And you can create content now, and you can build your network and build your brand, and that's what really we're teaching you to do. We're really setting the table, if you will, to make introductions, create opportunities, and then it's up to you guys to kind of run with it. The good news is so many good people in this industry want to give back, and they want to help the next generation, like I do, like Bob does, and so the future is very bright in my eyes. It's just different, right? So your parents might tell you, "What are you going to be in media? Media is dying." Media is not dying.
It's not.
It's growing.
Media,
it's transforming. I would say.
It has. It is transforming, and it's there are more opportunities for students like yourselves in media today than there ever been. They're just in different places. The path that I took to get to the top of my field does not exist.
It's way different.
Well, I feel like at Seton Hall, the future is now. What's some of the things students are doing this academic year?
Well, our Pirates in the Field program, has really taken off. I've started it last year. We took 2 students to the Super Bowl. We went to the Final Four. This year, we're doing those things. We're adding the World Series. We're adding an NFL game. We're adding the World Cup. So Pirates in the Field, great opportunity for our students. The partnership with ESPN, which I mentioned, where now we have interns guaranteed spots for Seton Hall students at ESPN, runners for game day and other places. focus groups and brand research, project pitch. Lots of good opportunities there. With NBC, our students have the opportunity to intern for NBC during the Olympics.
Awesome.
Not only in 26, but in 28 summer games here in the United States in LA. So, very, very bright. We're constantly looking at new partnerships.
Well, that'll do it. Thanks, BJ. It was an absolute pleasure. Manny Pereira, Tyler Seabreeze, Deckside Chats. See you later.
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, and have a great night.